Hi everybody, July 10, 2017, I attended an information session held by the town assessor where I live in Pelham, New York. She explained how her job is to distribute the tax levy of $88 million across 3,600 parcels of land. So here are my 10 findings, 10 factoids, 10 techniques that you can use to help manage your assessed valuation. I'm in front of IKEA outside of exit 13A Jersey Turnpike in Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I just want to say that everything I'm about to tell you is not a substitute for actual accounting advice or legal advice. It's simply things that I heard when I went to listen to my local town assessor speak this week. Okay, so let's get into the list. Point number one. When you move to your community, if you're in one of these places like Pelham where they do a reassessment every single year of every single home, if you move in new, you're going to get a letter from the village assessor or the town assessor asking for permission to enter your home so that they can snoop around and look at what you have on the inside of your house. You have the opportunity to say no. I chose to allow them in 7 years ago when I moved into the community, and they actually ended up reducing my assessment by $5,000. But it's totally up to you whether you let them in or you don't. Tip number 2. You know those pictures on the MLS that your previous owner posted so that you would be able to see the house? Get them taken down, because the tax assessor is looking at those pictures to determine what you have inside your house and how valuable it is.
We dropped something!
Factoid number 3. The assessor is looking for physical improvements that they can use to assess valuation on your home. By increasing the assessed valuation, they also make it easier for the town, village, and the local school board to increase the overall tax levy and still stay within the budget tax cap of 2% in New York State. Item number 4, there's a mass appraisal that's performed every single year for every single house, and it's done using a computer system that evaluates the value of every single home based upon the municipality in which it's located, the neighborhood it's located in, housing style, and the square footage. Item number 5, that mass assessment does not take into account the inferior site desirability. Now, what does that mean? Inferior site desirability means if my house is located on top of the train tracks, but your house is pretty similar, but it's located in a nice, quiet cul-de-sac, we might have the same valuation. You need to fight that back, and the way to fight that back is with Grievance Day. So Grievance Day is the third Tuesday in June every single year. You got to go down to town hall, ask for a copy of Form RP524. I did a separate video, which I'm going to link up there, that explains what to do, and your local board of assessment will determine whether or not the information that you bring to them can convince them that your assessed valuation is not appropriate based upon inferior site desirability or some other information. Maybe there's incorrect information on the tax card. Okay. If you don't like what the local board of assessment says on Grievance Day, you can go to small claims court and make your case in front of a judge. In fact, you can do that any time of the year. It doesn't matter whether it's the third Tuesday in June or any other day. As long as small claims court is open, you can get in front of a judge and make the same case. But if you do that, make sure that you bring with you some evidence about the actual valuation of your house and why it's not correct. That could mean an appraisal, that could mean comparable sales of other homes in the neighborhood. You can go to small claims court with or without a lawyer. So, tip number 8, for sale by owner, FSBO. This means a lower sales price because you don't have to pay a broker commission. Sorry brokers, some of my best friends are brokers, but the reality is if you're not paying a broker 6% of the sales price, the sale price can be lower. So if your sale price is lower, your assessed valuation is lower, because assessed valuation and market valuation are one and the same where I live. Tip number 9, ratting on your neighbors unfortunately works, and it happens all the time. What the assessor said is that people come into grievance day and they complain that their next door neighbor has an assessed valuation with a similar house that's much lower than theirs. Well, whether or not you get your assessment reduced, they're going to make a note in the file and they're going to check your neighbors next year. Tip number 10 has to do with solar panels. It turns out that solar panels can actually make you eligible for certain exemptions, but in order to get the exemption, you have to get an assessment based on the value of the solar panels. So, for example, if solar panels cost you $70,000, you might get an additional assessed valuation of $70,000, but you get an exemption worth $70,000. The problem is the exemption might not last forever, but that assessed valuation will be increased forever. Central air conditioning, according to the assessor, that will slap $10,000 to $15,000 extra onto your assessed valuation. People are now buying generators because they're concerned about the consistency of the electrical supply. Generators can add $2,000 to $5,000 to your assessed valuation.
Where's my seat? Try again.
And so finally, it's time for item number 11, the bonus item. What is a bedroom? Somebody asked the assessor, what is a bedroom? If you can use it as a bedroom, it's a bedroom. That's the answer. If it's got heat, light, ventilation, if there's space for a bed, if there's space for a nightstand, a dresser, and an armoire, if there's a door that can provide privacy to that room, then she's going to look at it as a separate bedroom. Now here's the interesting thing. Houses that have 4 or more bedrooms are not looked at as being more valuable than 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. So 3 bedrooms is more valuable than 2, is more valuable than 1. But if you have more than 4 bedrooms, there's no special assessment on top of the square footage for the use of that room as a bedroom. Little tricky, but there's a lot to follow with this whole business of assessed valuations. If you live in a community like mine, where property value is based on market value, then you might want to consider grieving your assessed valuation every single year, because there's a mechanism in place to increase your assessed valuation based upon physical improvements to the house. That's why they're pulling those building permits every single year. But as those improvements depreciate, there's no mechanism for reducing your assessed valuation, which is why you need to use the grievance process in June or small claims court, and consider doing that every single year. So I'd really like to hear your specific experience with assessed valuations, your experience with taxation, particularly if you live in New York State, but this is going on all over the country. Put your comments in the comment box below on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we'll see you next time on Red Blue Talk.